Hello, YouTube.
Hi.
We're YouTube only right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the entrance video one more time, and so you have to watch that one more time for 3 more minutes,
For that. 3 minutes.
and then we'll get started. We think we'll be able to get it onto Facebook now. So that's the goal, is to get this onto Facebook. I have a couple of setup things I got to make sure I've got set. Sayla's frustrated because she thinks she doesn't know if the show's started or not.
She says, hey, the show's kind of started. I need a treat.
Okay, so I think I've got it set up here. So we're going to take a shot at it. So I'm going to go to the blank screen for a second, and then we'll go quiet and we'll start one more time. So here goes. We'll be right back. I hope. Well, let me try. Let me start it on the other screen before, so I don't have to let them go yet.
Okay, we're holding on.
So hang on. I'm going to see if I get it started here. So here's the Facebook start button. Yep. Okay, see ya. What do you think? 3 weeks in a row. Come on up. Come on. Come here.
It's always something, isn't it?
3 weeks in a row, we made it. And
the hard way.
yeah, we'll see whether everybody else makes it. We had to start a new stream. Mm-hmm. So if you're still in the old stream, hoping that it'll start up again, it won't.
Al says he has us on Facebook now too. So
yeah. So good. So not really sure why it failed. We're experimenting. These last 2 weeks we've been experimenting with a new feature, which is an event feature, so that we can post the broadcast months in advance if we want to. But that doesn't seem to work very smoothly. Mm-mm. And so I'm not sure I don't think we're going to keep using it. Because both last week and this week we had different problems. But we're running now. And we're running all cylinders. If you're just joining us, here we are. Yep. We're ready to do common phrases you use every day.
Yeah, and have no idea why.
Like Anna Marie was telling me about one today, like sleep tight.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Why do we say sleep tight?
Yeah.
So, but that's not one of them. She said you'll have to ask Anna Marie. She can say it in the comments. Why sleep tight? But we've got 10 of them, and they really are. They're common. They're ones that you're going to recognize.
I feel so bad that I don't know what they mean, because I do utter those words, yeah. And then
everybody says these. That's why I picked them. I picked them sort of because I thought these were things that everybody said, but probably no one knows what they mean. So maybe a couple of you will know. So that'll be interesting. But I believe these are phrases that you use every day that you don't know why you say those words. You say the words and you know what they mean, but you don't know why they mean what they mean. So that's right. So 10 times we're going to discover tonight.
I'm excited.
So let's get right into it, all right?
Because I haven't seen all these.
Get right into it.
You won't let me look at them.
Get right into it, meaning let's go as slow as we can to get into the topic of the day. So anyway, we're glad you're here, glad you made it. And whether you're watching live or watching recorded, we do interact with the comments, so feel free to do that. If you're watching live, your comment will show up on the screen. So here we go. So please just throw in your thoughts and your comments along the way. Off we go. Okay. So the first one is this. I think it is. Here we go.
There you go.
By and large. By and large is the first one, Ida.
Yeah.
You know that saying, by and large? Like where would you use by and large in a sentence? Like, well, it's a synonym for all things considered, or for the most part. Mm-hmm. So you're talking with someone and you say, well, I've been working on that, but by and large, it's just not getting done.
By and large, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So it means all things.
That's some famous quote,
it means taking everything into account, or all things considered, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So do you know what that means? By and large. Those are interesting words, aren't they? It's
I have
B-Y,
no idea.
Not buy. It's not like go to the store and buy.
Or buy.
Or buy goodbye. No, it's B-Y.
Okay.
Buy.
By and large.
And large.
I have no idea.
This is a nautical reference.
Oh.
So do you
know?
For
the sailors in the group.
Yeah. So do you know what it means to be large? I have to use my cheat sheet over here.
To be large?
Yeah.
Like to be big?
You know about living large? It comes from the same source.
Oh.
But it's not like, where did you think that? Yeah, that's another one. Living large.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Well, let me tell you what that means.
It's kind of like the same place, by and large.
As far back as the 16th century, we have historical records that show, like Columbus, way back. The word large was used to mean that a ship was sailing with the wind at its back. That's the definition of large.
Really?
Yeah. So when you're living large, see, you've got
it's smooth sailing. You're
but when the wind isn't at your back, when it's at your front and you're having to sail into the wind, that's much less desirable, and that's called by, or full and by. Full and by.
I love learning these things.
So it meant the vessel was traveling into the wind. So for mariners, by and large, referred to traveling the seas in any and all directions relative to the wind. So by and large.
And how old is this by and large?
Old. We don't know, but it's very old.
And we all say it.
Yeah. So now when you say it, you know why you're saying it. And the problem is now every time you use that phrase, you're going to have to educate everybody on why you say it. Do you know why I say by and large? It makes you feel. And then when they say, wow, you're really smart. And you'll say, that's because I watched that show on Tuesday nights.
Uniquely the same.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. You ready? So that's the first of 10. By and large.
By and large. In the wind and with the wind at your back.
Yeah.
Okay.
In every direction, every orientation, taking everything into consideration.
Okay.
Right? Makes sense. How about this one? As happy as a clam. Do you ever use that phrase? How you doing? No, you say, what do you say? How you doing, Ida?
You say, how are you?
How are you, Ida?
I'm fine as frog's hair.
Okay, you say fine as frog's hair, but I'd say as happy as a clam.
Okay.
I don't know why you say fine as frog's hair. I guess because frog's hair is very fine.
It is very. You can't get much finer than frog's hair.
You're getting bonus sayings that no one says except for Ida.
I live in my own head.
As happy as a clam.
Al says, "Have you ever seen a sad clam?"
There you go.
He's got a point there, Al.
As happy as a clam, the state of being happy, feeling delighted, right? That's what it means. So why would you say as happy as a clam? Is a clam something you think of as very happy?
No.
Because the only ones I ever see are on my plate, and they are definitely not happy.
Well, even when you dig them up at the beach, they don't look happy. They snap down and try to...
Yeah,
maybe they're happy
cantankerous
because they're safe.
You're on the right path, Ida.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting there.
Because the full saying is not just as happy as a clam. That's a shortened version of the real saying. The real saying is really a British saying, but it's as happy as a clam at high water.
Aha!
And so we just say as happy as a clam as a shortened form of that. But sometimes you'll actually hear the full phrase. People will say that. So that's where it comes from, as happy as a clam. And why are they happy? For the reason you're saying. When the water is high, predators, you see, aren't there. They aren't exposed to predators.
I see. Joel says a closed clam looks like it's smiling.
Yeah, maybe.
That could have something to do with it.
Maybe a lot of these... a lot of these phrases, I can't be 100% certain of the etymology of all of it, right? I can't absolutely promise you that I'm right. I've done the best research that I can, but it's not knowable. Like a phrase could have come from multiple sources, but I'm going to tell you, basically, I'm giving you my opinion from the research that I've done. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
And so people can dig them up. So the clam is happiest when the high tide or the high waters, because they're not going to get caught.
I feel a little vindicated that I sort of got.
You got that one.
Okay.
I'm giving you that one.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for the next phrase?
I'm ready. I'm feeling confident.
Do you
now.
actually, by and large, and as happy as a clam, you ever use those?
All the time.
Okay. Here's the next one.
Okay. Oh, no.
Ida, I've been doing something bad a long time, and I'm going to just quit cold turkey.
Uh-oh.
Quit cold turkey. Why do we say quit cold turkey?
Okay. Quit cold turkey. Immediately quitting a habit. Okay.
Quit cold turkey. Yeah. So let me just put the big definition up. It means, if you haven't heard it, it means immediately quitting a habit. The habit is typically unhealthy, and the decision to quit is sudden and immediate. I'm going to quit cold turkey. Why do we call it cold turkey?
Are cold turkeys more active than warm turkeys? Mary Lou,
the
help
cold turkeys I'm aware of are frozen.
Well, I don't know. Cold turkey. That's not like No, it's not like a turkey you've had in your refrigerator.
That's exactly what it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not warm turkey.
Cold turkey. I don't know.
I don't know if this happens with you, but Thanksgiving meal is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Hours and hours of preparation and activity. I mean, I spend an unbelievable amount of time on my Thanksgiving turkey dinner.
Right. I'm sorry, Linda.
But cold turkey,
I'm
you
moving over.
see,
He's the lightning strikes you.
cold turkey can be prepared fast and ready to eat. And so it became a metaphor for when somebody does something abruptly with not much preparation.
I see. Well,
So,
David has a good idea about it.
yep.
He says when you decide to cook a turkey, but before you cook it, you decide not to.
That's right.
That's using the noggin.
So anyway, that explanation seems odd though, because there's plenty of other foods that are quick to make,
Yeah.
right?
But this came out, this saying was way before microwaves, and right?
Yeah,
I mean, so
but there still was cold turkey.
there was still cold turkey.
You put it down in the cold room downstairs.
Yeah.
So I think that first definition probably had something to do with it, with people's understanding of it. But another theory has to do with that the older expression, another expression that sort of goes along with it is talking turkey or talking cold turkey, which means somebody who speaks plainly, right, to somebody else. In other words, they got to the point where they were saying without any nonsense in between. Talking cold turkey.
Well, that makes sense. So you quit cold turkey. No nonsense, no holds barred, you're done.
Yeah. So I think that saying came, into it too. I'm going to quit cold turkey just like I talk cold turkey.
Yeah.
And so it's just another. So anyway, that one's less satisfying. I don't quite have the exact.
I'm kind of thinking I'm not going to say these things anymore. I'm going to try to not use this vernacular
Why not?
because I don't know what I'm saying.
It's flowery. Well, now you do. Now you do. All right, let's go on to the next one.
All right.
That one I'm less sure of exactly what it means or where it came from, but that's the best that I could figure. Here's one that I am pretty confident in. Other people aren't, but I'm pretty confident. I've looked at this one very carefully. So, cut the mustard. Do you ever say that? Cut the mustard?
You just can't cut the mustard.
Yeah, that kid at school, he doesn't cut the mustard.
He's not going to make the team
That's
because
what a
he
teacher
doesn't cut
says
the
when
mustard.
they're at home and they're not talking directly to the kid.
Yeah.
It means meeting the required standards. When you cut the mustard, you're meeting the standards, filling expectations. When you don't cut the mustard, it's the opposite, right? You're not quite making the standard.
Right.
So what do you think about that one?
Cut the mustard. You don't cut the mustard. Or you do cut the mustard.
Cut the mustard.
Okay, mustard is not like a condiment. Always, it's a plant.
Yeah.
So, cutting the mustard.
I love to watch your mind work.
It's a terrible thing to waste. So I think it means
You go out and you cut a little mustard off and
cut the mustard, and then that gives you something to.
It's the opposite of cold turkey. It takes you a long time to cut the mustard.
It gives you some different flavors, and it provides a tasty experience. So.
Okay, you ready for this one?
Yeah, please
right.
help me. Get me out of this.
This is actually, we've conflated the word. It actually isn't mustard. The right word, it shouldn't be mustard.
What is it?
It's cut the muster. So when armed forces,
that makes better sense.
It's an idiom.
Al says, what about mustering the troops?
Exactly. When military troops muster, what that means is they come together for inspection. You muster the forces. I see. And they come and they're inspected, right? But a troop that has had like excellent performance. So let's say, for instance, a troop had a really good room inspection. And so they were allowed to skip muster.
So they cut the muster.
So they cut the muster. They didn't have the muster. And so they didn't have to stand in that formal muster, and they could go on liberty early.
That makes perfect sense.
Right?
How did it get to be mustard? That's just silliness.
They don't cut the mustard. I mean, the term is still cut the mustard. But you sort of picture, it's sort of a weird thing. This Dijon. I would never cut yellow mustard. I would always cut Dijon mustard.
I was going down that road. I was trying to make up something that made sense about mustard.
Cut the mustard. Still mustard, but
MUSTERED.
yeah, but it's not a misspelling. The phrase is cut the mustard, but it's just gotten conflated.
You get a giant star for knowing that one. Okay.
Okay, next one.
All right.
How about this one?
I'm ready.
Ida,
Yes.
I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag
Oh no.
on something.
Let the cat out of the
What
bag.
a terrible saying! Let the cat out of the bag. That brings back terrible memories of bullies and terrible young people who abused cats.
I know.
And so, why do we say I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag?
Because when you open the bag.
First of all, it means to make secret information known.
Right.
Right? I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag.
So, like you're holding a bag with a cat in it.
That's that. I can't. I was doing that yesterday.
And they want out so bad that when you set it down, they bolt out of the bag, and it's a big surprise.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. It's wrong, isn't it?
You know, that's not letting the cat out of the bag. That's like the cat springing from the bag.
It sprints out of the bag.
That's how. Okay, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
All right. First, I'm going to tell you a theory I don't think is true, but a lot of people say this one about letting the cat out of the bag.
Uh-huh.
It sort of makes sense, but it just seems too far-fetched. Seems like somebody made up this story.
Like you? Or no?
No, this is not me. This is not me. So, the theory goes that there were merchants that were selling piglets.
Okay.
And when a customer bought a pig from them, the merchant would put it in a bag and give it to them so that they could take it home. And but dishonest merchants would go to the side after they sold the piglet
And
stuff a cat in the bag, because cats are a dime a dozen. And he'd swap out the piglet with the cat and then tie the bag up and give it to them. And so it would still be a live animal.
Like sleight of hand.
Feel like a little piglet. Probably made a different sound than the oink oink. That's why I find it a little far-fetched. But regardless, the customers, none the wiser, would take the bag and go home, and then they would let the cat out of the bag.
And
they would see the merchant's trick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory that doesn't seem...
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of buying that story.
Okay, now I'm going to give you another. I'm going to give you another one that I think is more likely. Now, like I said, these things get conflated, so it could be that some merchant somewhere did that, and there was already the saying, "Let the cat out of the bag," and they were like, "See, that's what that means. That's supposed to be a pig, and it's a cat. I'm going to go get that guy." So the second theory has to do. What else? What else is called a cat?
What else is called a cat?
Yeah, that's not an animal.
Cat. Category?
A cat, a nine-tails.
A cat. Oh.
And so this is another Navy saying.
I should know these.
Old Navy, not like recent U.S. Navy, but they would use the cat o' nine tails in the olden days to whip people who were out of line on the ship, because you didn't have they were with you on the ship. They had to shape up or ship out, and so they would use the cat. And see, the cat was kept in a bag because it's made out of leather, and so you had to leather would dry out if it were just out, so you kept it in a sack. So when you let that cat out of the bag, that was going to be a big eye-opener.
A surprise.
Yeah.
An unpleasant surprise.
The whipper cat was kept in a bag, perhaps to keep the leather from drying out anyway. If the time came for a sailor to receive punishment, the cat was taken out of the bag.
I kind of like the cat and the pig story.
Yeah, I mean, you would. There's no way the cat and the pig story is the origin of how many crooked merchants were putting cats in bags.
Really, that we're still saying it today. Let the cat out of the bag. Oh well.
But I think it maybe has to do with bully boys putting cats in bags, and so we just keep Keep that. And you can sort of picture a cat. I think it's a vivid image of a cat coming out.
It is a vivid image.
All right, that's the cat in the bag. Not real sure of that one, but all right. Here's my favorite one of the bunch. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Not let the cat out of the bag. This is another animal phrase. This is crocodile tears. Oops, I always put the wrong one up. It means when someone's expressing sorrow in a somewhat insincere way, but big crocodile tears. Ever thought about that one? Why don't we call them elephant tears or a bigger animal? Why do we use crocodiles? Are crocodiles particularly insincere?
Well, I think it's because crocodiles lay in wait, and you can see those big old eyes.
Yeah, they're always crying. Like, you always see them.
I've never
crying.
seen any tears in a crocodile, but they're there, and you think they're innocent, and then snap.
They're not.
They bite you in half.
Oh, it's sort of the untrustfulness.
Yes,
of a crocodile.
Yes, that's where I'm going.
That you're pointing at. Nope, that's not it.
No, of course it's not.
Are you ready for this one? This is my favorite one.
Al says they're sad when we get away.
Yeah, this is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Crocodiles cry when they eat.
I did not know that.
They always cry when they eat.
You mean real tears come out of their eyes?
Real tears come out of their eyes. I wanted to get a video. I forgot actually to go find a video and put that up. But so look for it. But it's a scientific fact. This is not like I'm positive of this fact.
Okay.
That crocodiles actually cry tears when they eat food.
So it's not like they're sad. They're just so elated they cry. What is this?
Well, so it's not because they're feeling emotions. Their tears aren't based on emotions. It's just whenever they eat. A crocodile produces tears.
So their lacrimal glands activate when they...
Whatever you just said, yeah.
Digest.
So they're not really sincere tears.
Oh,
they're just
get it.
crying.
It's just
they're
part
big
of
tears when they eat. And so the comparison's made when someone's displaying feelings of sadness that are thought to be insincere, or they're fake crying about something, and their tears are like that of a crocodile who's not really crying. It just, his eyes are watering. It's a fake. It's a fake. But there are such a thing as crocodile tears.
I did not know that. I've never seen a crocodile eat, I guess.
No, you don't.
Or I've not looked at his eyes while he's doing it.
All right, next one, number 6. We're only halfway through.
Oh, okay.
After crocodile tears, take it with a grain of salt. You should, when I say that about the crocodile tears,
you should
take that with a grain of salt. Why do we say take it with a grain of salt? There's a lot of weirdness in that. But we could just say take it with salt. We say a grain of salt.
Right.
It's a phrase used to describe information that's not assured as accurate or true. The information conveyed should not be taken too seriously.
So a grain of salt is a minuscule.
Yep.
So it really isn't going to change anything. One little grain of salt. So that's what it means.
Okay, but by the way, our viewers from England or who are connected to the British language, they would usually use in the same phrase. They would say, "Take it with a pinch of salt."
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't say a grain of salt. Grain of salt is actually an earlier reference to something that was written, but so that's why we say it as a grain of salt. But they've changed it to a pinch of salt. What do you think? So you say it's just a little.
It's just a little. It's not enough to even make a difference. So a grain of salt. Mary Lou says 1 grain isn't very much, and Al says pretty much the same thing.
This phrase, as far as I know, this is the oldest of the 10 phrases. Okay. It was referenced in 77 A.D. By somebody who I studied, Pliny. He's a historian from 77 A.D. And so it's in his writing.
You studied Pliny.
Yeah. There's a lot in seminary. There's a lot of biblical references.
Okay, well, maybe I'll buy that then.
So
I'm going to take that with a grain of salt.
Lots of our biblical like cross history stuff we use his writings. So the idea comes from the fact that the food is more easily swallowed if it has a little bit of salt. In other words, something that doesn't taste great, you put just a little bit of salt on it. That was the context in which he used it.
So I kind of had it a little backwards. The salt made it more palatable. Makes it more palatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pliny the Elder translated an ancient text, which some have suggested is an antidote to poison, with the words "to be taken fasting plus a grain of salt," and it was actually a protection against poisoning that he was talking about. So you had this little concoction that you would take, which wasn't good to eat. So you just take it with a grain of salt, is what it said.
Okay.
And so people think he probably meant just a little bit of salt, give it a little bit of flavor, so it's bearable.
Sort of like Mary Poppins and a spoonful of sugar.
That's right. That's a good one. We can just say, take it with a spoonful of sugar.
There you go. I always think of musicals. I'm sorry. You're talking about Pliny. I'm talking about Mary Poppins.
Right.
There's the difference in us, folks. Okay.
Number 8.
Yes, I'm
ready. Do you ever
ready.
use that one? I don't use take it with a grain of salt very often.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, here's the
I say this all the time.
Yeah, this one I think about a lot, and it's always been a big question of mine. But it's raining cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs. That common saying that describes heavy rainfall. Why do we say that?
This one I don't even. Other than the joke that goes along with it, that you just stepped in a poodle, I don't have any idea why we say raining cats and dogs. Help us, folks. I don't know. Well,
there's
if there's like a plethora of cats and dogs.
Yeah, dogs everywhere.
Dogs, cats, everywhere. You know, feral animals, and you just can't get rid of them. I guess that's what it means. Like it's raining down just loads and loads and loads. Like
I heard somebody say that cats and dogs, like you're talking about strays, would hide like on the rooftops of buildings, and if it was raining a lot, it'd be too slippery up there, and they'd get washed off the roof, and so it would be raining cat. A little bit of rain wouldn't cause that, but that idea doesn't make sense to me. First of all, why would they go up on top of the roof
instead of
to
under
shelter
something?
from rain?
I don't know who told you that story, but
That's very common. That's a very common explanation. Because a number of times in my life I've thought about that.
Mary Lou says really big raindrops.
Yeah, that's a good guess. But here's where I think it comes from. Okay. Again, this would mean that it's really, really old, because it comes from a Greek term, Greek expression, which is katadoxa. Katadoxa, which means contrary to experience or belief. Katadoxa, contrary to your experience or belief, against your doctrine, against your way of believing.
That's just too brilliant.
So cats and dogs is a shortened form of katadoxa, like a simpler version.
Like cutting the mustard.
Exactly, where it just got translated. There's another one, Old English, katadupe. All right. So this is possible, but I think it's katadoxa, because Greek had a lot of influence early on. Katadupe meant a waterfall.
Oh.
And so a version of katadupe existed in a lot of old languages. Latin had katadupe, but the history of those words is actually katadoxa as well. So they have their roots back there. But there's a Greek writer that referred to the katadoxa of the Nile. And so raining cats and dogs in that case would mean it's like a waterfall.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's a but again, it has that same Greek root. So I'm pretty sure the Greek root was the beginning of it, the katadoxa, and just turned into things that sound like
that makes sense.
Cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Cats and doxa. Katadoxa. All right.
Perfect.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 9.
Okay.
Number 9. After the show tonight, let's go out and paint the town red.
Paint the town red. Oh no, that's another one. Paint the town red.
Yeah. Paint the town red. It's a shorthand for a wild night out.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that. I was just
Oh, I've heard.
letting you know what it might mean. Paint the town red. Why would we say paint the town red? P.T. Barnum would have painted it all sorts of
Stripes.
colors. Yeah.
Paint the town red. Well, red was a color that signified wild, right?
Yeah.
So
Red light district, for instance.
That's right. Or a woman wearing a red dress or red shoes. That has a negative connotation in some places. So painting the town red
would be
like wild. Yeah. That's
I think that's a contributing factor.
Okay.
Now, I tried... the thing that I kept thinking about was, what's the big thing that's red, that you paint red? And so I kept thinking barns, right? Like where...
Yeah.
Like, what would that mean, to paint everything like a barn? I kept looking for references to that, because to me, that was the one where it would have come from, right? But barns are actually fairly modern, and this term is actually older than that. We know that it goes back to at least the 1800s. And so it probably is based on this story. Now, remember the cats and dogs on the roof story?
Yes. Is this from the same place?
And I've given a few stories that I just went, no. But here's one that feels more right to me. Okay? Even though it's just one person, it makes me wonder. But here's the story. It's a legendary night of drunkenness in 1837.
Oh, my.
The Marquis of Waterford, who was a lush and a mischievous guy. He just loved to make mischief all the time. He was a troublemaker. He led a group of friends on a night of drinking through the English town of Melton Mowbray. This is a historical fact. Okay. The bender culminated in vandalism after Waterford and his fellow revelers knocked over flower pots, pulled knockers off of doors, broke the windows of some of the town's buildings. To top it off, the mob literally went to a toll gate on their way home, and they painted the toll gate and doors of a bunch of homes and a big swan statue with red paint. They literally painted the place red.
Okay.
And so I believe that it might have had the connotation that you were talking about before that, but I think that story cemented it in time.
Pretty well.
And everybody, there's not great evidence that that's the story, but
this might date us. But Al says, I thought barns were colored mail pouch.
Right.
I'm sure many people don't know what that means, but I do.
Paint the town red.
Yeah.
I believe it came from Marquis of Waterford.
Marquis of Waterford.
Yep.
And his crew.
Right.
Because one person.
He was the ringleader.
Okay.
We know for a fact he literally painted a bunch of stuff in the town. He had to pay back. He was rich, but he had to pay back all the fines and had to get everything repaired afterwards.
But what's amazing to me, when did you say this happened?
1837.
1837, and we're still saying paint the town red. That's amazing.
That's quite a party.
That must have been quite a party.
He said, let's have a party that they're going to be talking about
hundreds of years from now.
All right.
Got it.
Here's our last one.
Okay.
Didn't know what to end on, but how about this one? This is going to be our last one, Ida.
Okay.
No question about it. How you like them apples? How do you like them apples?
Oh no.
It's another way of saying how did you like that, or it's often used in a mocking or teasing way when you have a victory over someone.
Right.
Say how you like them apples, or it could be just a surprise information that you've just come across. You go, how do I like them apples? Right? It's surprising, isn't it? How do you like them apples?
This one frightens me because I say this all the time. And I can't imagine somebody painting the town with
With apples?
with apples. How do you like them apples? Oh my. I can't even think of why we say it that way. Apples.
Well, here's my thinking, okay? This isn't so much research, it's just my speculation, but I've thrown lots of apples in my life. I mean, apples, when they fall off a tree, they are meant for boys to throw. Like, they just fall off of trees and they're there, and it's a big apple, and you got to do something with it, right?
Yeah.
And so, sort of like throwing an egg in a car or a house, right? Apples have been there forever, since Adam and Eve, right?
Yes, that's true.
And so that's a theory too, that it just goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Mm-hmm. It's, how do you like them apples?
That makes better sense
right?
to me than.
But apple trees have always been there. Yeah. And Adam and Eve, it's a fruit tree. It doesn't say anything about an apple tree. But anyway.
Okay.
Apples have I'll bet you almost everyone who's a guy, at least, has thrown an apple at something.
Or someone.
Like at a tree, not necessarily at a house, but it's just fun. You're standing there and you say, I wonder can you hit that tree over there, and throwing an apple, that's a good thing to do. And there's hundreds of them around, you're not going to eat them all, and they're just going to get rat infested anyway. So
right.
But so I think that's the origin personally, but I can't give you any evidence or any specific. Mm-hmm. But here's something that I do know to be true.
Okay.
Another reference, which is a World War II reference.
To how do you like them apples?
Yeah.
Okay.
But World War II, I think it's World War II. No, World War I. Oh. World War I reference. But the phrase existed before this. So it just got strengthened during this time with this. But there were certain grenades and mortars that were used in trench warfare that there was basically like a 2-inch mortar, about this big, that sat on top of a stick.
Okay.
And you'd throw the stick and it would blow up over there.
Yeah. That makes sense, Calvin.
And so they called that trench mortar the toffee apple because it looked like an apple on a stick. Mm. And so they would throw
and how do you like that?
The mortars, and they go, how you like them apples?
That makes sense to me.
Which is what every boy does with an apple tree when they're a kid anyway. You have a war on both sides of the apple tree.
Well, yeah. Nathan says that they used to play a game during recess of dodgeball with crab apples, but they got in trouble, so it didn't last long. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
And Al wants to know if it has anything to do with apples for the teacher, but I'm kind of digging the grenade one.
There's a story that comes to mind. It doesn't have a lot to do with this, but Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, Martin Luther, the way back dead white guy. He has a big story about sin, in which he talks about an apple tree. And there was an apple tree, had real nice apples on it, and he went and he stole the apples from the neighbor's yard, like jumped the fence and stole the apples, but he wasn't hungry. And so he has this whole chapter, long exposition of how he stole these apples just for the fun of stealing. And so maybe Martin Luther had something to do with it too.
Maybe he did.
How you like them apples? He didn't even. He said, he wasn't even hungry. He'd go and steal the apple, and then he figured, oh, I actually don't even want this apple. Mm-hmm. I just wanted the thrill of stealing it. Aww. And so that's what he uses that to talk about.
Well, how do you like them apples? I do say that all the time, and I don't know. I hadn't really thought about how many things we say without really understanding where they came from until we decided to do this show.
There's sayings and sayings and sayings and sayings with these things all over them.
Right.
So what do you think? Should we move on? Those are your 10.
Wow.
Do you feel smarter now?
I do feel smarter.
At least those phrases, you're going to know roughly what they mean.
Yeah.
A lot of things you won't. Just like we play I always do the joke of the week. I do last week's joke of the week for Ida right before the show. She never remembers it.
I try to erase it out of my memory. They are so bad.
So maybe the same thing will happen to you. And if you stick around for the after show on Facebook, I got 2 more.
Oh boy!
But those are the 10, and we'll give you a two phrase bonus if you stick around for the after show. But the good part of the show is about to begin.
Okay.
It's time for Ida's saying of the week. How about that, Ida?
Oh, well, I'm trying to find that one.
It's right there. Is that it?
It's all right.
Didn't I change it? You want me to change it?
No.
I can change it.
He was mocking me because he said I used this one before, and maybe I did. So if I did, I apologize. But the reason I came up with this one is because it's National Heart Month in February for the United States. So I just like this one to go with that.
Heart Month?
Yeah, it's Heart Month. I worked in healthcare for many years, and the first Friday of February, everybody wore red in deference to Heart Month. Anyway, okay. So this saying is, to strengthen the muscles of your heart, the best exercise is lifting someone else's spirit whenever you can. So that's it. I think it is sweet.
What is that candle sitting on there? Oh, I never brought it up, Ida. I just left us sitting here. I'm looking at it, but nobody else is looking at it. Let me bring it up again.
Well, maybe I should read it again.
Let's bring up the big shot.
The big one?
Yeah, here you go. See that?
Okay, there you go. To strengthen the muscles of your heart, the best exercise is lifting someone else's spirit whenever you can.
So what is that, Ida? Those look like cookies.
I think it's just
cookies in a tin.
It is cookies in a tin, I think.
I think those are cookies.
It's a big celebration.
With a grain of salt.
No, that's sugar.
Oh.
And a few apples along the way. I don't know. Anyway.
And you see the crocodile tear coming down from the heart?
No, that's not a crocodile tear. Oh well. There you go.
Yeah, thanks for that. Let's keep going to the less serious part of the show. That's our thoughtful moment. Mm-hmm. In the midst of all the brevity, we want to try to hammer you with be kind. Right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Here's the joke of the week. Coming from Tom Booth. Boy, I hope I got Tom's name changed on the second slide, but we'll see. If not, it's going to say somebody else's name there.
If it says Jane, we know you didn't. Okay.
Tom says I was completely addicted to the hokey pokey. Oh. Have you ever been addicted to the hokey pokey?
Not that I'm aware of, but yeah.
A lot of people have done
youth,
it.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, when you think of things that you do all the time, like sayings you say all the time. But then I turned myself around.
Oh, my word. This is why I don't remember them, because I try to forget them.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about.
That's what it's all about.
You're addicted to the hokey pokey. Use the wisdom of the hokey pokey itself.
That's. You need some rest.
I think so.
Oh, well.
So here's some bad news, Ida.
Aww.
We got started on YouTube first. They got to watch the opening of the show
twice.
3 times.
3 times?
Yeah. But
sorry about that, guys.
While we got the Facebook one open, but we got everybody together now. But unfortunately, the YouTube show is going to come to an end now. There's more. There's more show. We'll have comments, thoughts, informal talk, a look at the news, maybe some shout outs, and a closing video with your photos in it. I realized that we have photos of some of the people that watch on YouTube, on the Facebook ending. So they're never going to see them. We need to put them in the opening so that they can...
I guess we do. Well, we can do that. I've been working on gathering photos.
But it is time to say goodbye to you. We'll put you out of your misery now And thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next Tuesday. We've done it 3 weeks in a row now. We're going to keep going.
Yeah.
We're going to just keep going. We've got more show for you. We've got lots of ideas. We're talking about shows. And but we're glad you came by. Hope you learned something tonight. Hope you had a little bit of fun. And hope you got caught with your heart a little bit too. Because we want to make a difference. Ida, you want to close us on Facebook? No, not that.
I'm not going to close us on Facebook.
No.
I'm going to close
We're
us on
staying with
YouTube.
Why can't I get
Every
that right?
week. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I know that your time is valuable, and we do appreciate you spending some of your time with us. You make a difference in our lives, and we hope we make a difference in yours. So we always like to say, I'm uniquely the same. You're uniquely the same. Together we can change the world.